Welcome back, family, to the Fitness Headspace Podcast. This is episode 33, and you're here with your favorite coaches, Deion Avril, along with Joy Monique. All right, so check us out. Before we even start and telling you what we're talking about today, all right? First thing we need y'all to do is go ahead and like, share, comment, subscribe. I know you're probably like, what are we even commenting about? You already know. Just let us know what's up. All right, so what we're trying to do right now is just make sure that everybody's coming to the page, following, sharing. All right, we're trying to build this community continuously. That's all we're trying to do. But that is besides the point. Today's episode is about using herbs to heal internally. Yes. All right, so we're taking more of a holistic approach on things because in this day and age, what really goes down is that we tend to have, this concept where we're so accustomed to treating certain ailments. I don't even want to say treat, heal. Let me correct myself. We want to heal certain ailments by just taking a pill that's prescribed by your physician. In certain situations, I can see how that might be, reasonable, especially if you have a certain health condition, and it is advised to do that. I get that. But still, believe it or not, there's still a lot of things that you can still incorporate that are natural that will do the same exact thing, if not even more. So what we're going to do, we're going to delve in a little bit more and give you some information on that. Yeah. So what we'll do is start off by asking the question, what are herbs, right? You've probably heard of them. We ain't talking about them herbs, y'all. We talking about another type of herbs, all right? Okay. So this is any plant with leaves, seeds, or flowers used for flavoring, food, medicine, or perfume. And of course, other, avenues as well. It can be utilized. Now, let's talk about some of the benefits of the herbs. Now, most herbs, the thing that a lot of people utilize them for, especially like you'll see this more in like, I would say like, I don't want to say necessarily Caribbean island, but just more of, like our indigenous practices more so. They use a lot of these herbs for antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects that it does have. Now, there's a lot of studies that, say a whole bunch of other things. There's something that's called polyphenols. I don't want to go scientific on everybody, but there's different things that it does help combat. And it's showing that it does have evidence fighting things such as cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and also lowering your cholesterol as well, and increasing your cognitive function and mood. So these are some of the things why we think it's really important to incorporate these herbs, and not just herbs. We're talking about spices too, just a little bit. Yeah. Spices such as you got like clove, rosemary, sage, oregano. I call it oregano, but y'all know I mean oregano. Cinnamon are really great sources of your antioxidants as well too. So these are just some of the things to think about why you should start incorporating these herbs. Now, Joy, I'm going to pass off the baton to you. So if you want to give the family some of the most commonly used herbs, and even if you got any on your own that you might use, give us some insight on what you think.
Right. When I tell you, I am loving this conversation because I am one that has become a very holistic kind of person. And so you guys, all we're trying to do is trying to correct disease in the body. And that's dis-ease. Breaking that word down. So all we do is like, when your body has a disease, that means there's a dysfunction as far as the functionality, as far as your nerves, your chemical balance, hormone balance. Something is, not gets within balance within your body. So be able to have these, more holistic things as far as herbs, tonics, spices, and everything can kind of help naturally bring back that realignment to your body systems. And these are things that you can really find in your kitchen right now, in your own natural medicine cabinet. So kind of get into a few other things that we have. Number one thing that I love right here, turmeric. That is that nice, like orange, yellowish kind of spice that you see. It's like a bitter kind of smell. Y'all know when y'all see it, and when you smell it. But turmeric is an amazing root. You probably see like in your grocery store, Kroger, Walmart, your local markets, and that's a great anti-inflammatory and a great antioxidant. And that's really good to help with depression and arthritis. And then for guys who like to use your Tylenols and your Advils for any common headaches, what you can opt for instead is chamomile, especially within tea form. that is a really good way to kind of help. Mostly used for a relaxation aid for the body. So for anxiety, relaxation, like I said, helping to reduce that inflammation in the body, which kind of helps to alleviate the headache pressures. So if you're at home and you're kind of feeling like a little bit of a tingling feeling in your head, have like, a little headache coming on, you could try instead one day opting out for the chamomile tea. Give it about 20, 30 minutes for it to actually go through your system. Same time you would give a Tylenol pill or a Aleve or Advil, and be able to have the same kind of effects for you. It's to be able to relieve that headache for you. Then another one we have is echinacea. This is a leaf or stalk or root, commonly used to treat colds, flu, infections, and also for wound healing as well. So now you guys, during this time of year, especially like, when it kind of just starts to roll into the fall or roll into like, the real colder months, or even going into the springtime with the pollen, if you kind of depending on where you stay. This is one thing that you can start to incorporate as a natural herb that can kind of help remedy some of the imbalance that can come from having the colder flu symptoms that's, already within your body. Of course, for echinacea, and with most things, you do want to kind of have, heed a little bit of caution, but with echinacea especially, it's best used for a short-term use. Long-term can actually have a more adverse effect on your body's immune system. So with anything that we say for you guys today, any kind of recommendations, always talk to your physician first, especially if you guys are on any kind of other medications, because we don't want to have any kind of counteract when it comes with those, other things are needing to do for your body by trying to use the more herbal remedies. But with that in mind, moving on forward, parsley, not just a nice little topping to go on your chicken breast. It looks really good, but it has amazing benefits as well. This is a very vitamin rich plant. So on vitamin K, vitamin A for your antioxidants, your anti-blood clotting, your bone health, vitamin C properties, vitamin K as well, folate. So anybody who is pregnant, folate is a really good vitamin to have when it comes to helping with the neural effects, your brain's cognitive function. That's a really important vitamin for us to have in at any time. My ladies out there who are pregnant or looking to conceive, that's an especially important vitamin for you guys to start to consume more so. And so I kind of let Deion get into a few more things that we kind of look through our herb spice rack and kind of see what else we have in here in this natural medicine cabinet.
Of course. So on this side of the cabinet, we do have garlic. Okay. A lot of people use garlic as well, too. It's not just for the whole vampire thing and all that fun stuff. So one of the main things or biggest benefits of garlic for a lot of people is lowering your cholesterol and your blood pressure. It does have anti-inflammatory properties as well, too. There's studies that are showing a couple of other things, too, but we won't get into that. Now, although, again, like we say, too much of anything isn't always the best for you. Consuming too much of your garlic can increase the risk of bleeding. So why that would correlate? So just to give you an ideal, it could be used as a blood thinner to an extent, depending on how much you consume. And also you want to be very aware, super kind of like a random scenario. But if you are going to, for example, like a dental surgery or a dental procedure in general, you probably don't want to consume too much garlic because of that blood thinning. And it will, of course, it's not going to look too pretty at the end of the day. So again, garlic is one of those things that tastes really good. I don't know about you, Joy, but I'm a firm believer, especially with cooking with the garlic. There's almost, I don't know if there's really a such thing as using too much garlic. I don't know if I'm tripping, especially with the minced.
With me in my household, like that garlic and herb seasoning, okay, we do what we want over here.
Right. So it's just I don't know, some people say, everybody's different, but I will say for this next one, there's a such thing as too much. And this is ginger. I love ginger. I love ginger. I love ginger. Ginger is really big for a couple of other things, but antioxidant effects, especially for your anti-inflammation, because I can definitely attest to that all the time. So being around a lot of friends, from the island and whatnot, especially Jamaicans, use what's called ginger beer. So they kind of put, a nice little concoction together and it tastes amazing. I mean, again, you can find it in the stores, but there's nothing like, it being homemade and knowing what's being put inside of it. Now, here's the issue though. If you consume too much, and I'm telling y'all right now, first-handed, I love that ginger beer, and it did me dirty. Literally did me dirty. It caused me a lot of bloating, a lot of gas. I felt a little nauseous from time to time. Heartburn, I didn't really find that to be one of my side effects, but everything else above the board. It's kind of ironic because you would think that, the ginger does help with your digestion and taking away some of that bloat and that gas, but consuming too much of it actually inhibits more of that.
Right.
So like we said, sometimes less is more.
And with
So
that,
be
it's
very
like
aware.
probably be so where it can throw off the pH balance with like the natural acidity in your stomach. So say with anything, do not want to throw off the balance of it. So if you're already having something to say, kind of upset, that's showing that your body's natural acid levels are already thrown off. Ginger can kind of help realign that pH balance. But of course, you don't want to go too far to the other side as well. That'll give you a whole other problem. So yeah,
100%, 100%. And I didn't even think about it that way. It's not until you mentioned it, I was like, huh. If I would have looked at it that angle, probably wouldn't have, it wouldn't have been like rocket science to me at that point in time. So definitely got to make sure I keep that balanced, very balanced. So our next one, I'm going to skip one really quick. All right. So the next one is golden seal. So golden seal and echinacea, I actually like those two together. For this one, there's a couple of different, with all of them, there's a lot of different studies that show this and that and this and that, but used as an antiseptic, does help with skin irritations, helps to treat diarrhea as well. So there has been some proven treatments for colds as well too, which is why I said echinacea and golden seal for me. I actually put them together. There's a couple of other reasons why as well. But you want to make sure that you still do not consume way too much, mainly because of the fact of, in super high dosages, it will cause, any irritation from the skin overall to your mouth, to your throat, and gastric, which are not fun things to have. Another one that a lot of people sleep on, this is mainly for liver functionality, and it helps with reducing high cholesterol, is milk thistle. So you don't really hear that name much, right? But that's one of the things that I always like to tell people to incorporate, especially for the liver, because not even just liver, your gut health is probably one of the most important things, hands down. Yes. Your gut controls a majority of everything that's going on, right. You know what I mean? Hormonally and past hormonally. So it's really important to make sure that you do take care of your stomach. So that whole you are what you eat is way deeper than that. It's more of what you're consuming in your body will also show on your body. You know what I mean? So you have to be very aware of that. So really quick, when should you use these herbs? A plethora of different ways. So the most common is either consuming it within a drink, using it within your food, and the other one is going to be in capsule form. I don't know if Joy, if you have any other ones in particular, but I think those are like the top three.
The main ones, yeah. Either be within the capsule form. With the capsule drinking and cooking, that's the main ways that you can use any of these herbs, depending on the form that you do get them in. And generally, depending on how you get them, will kind of determine the potency of that herb as well. Of course, if you're able to get the whole plant, the whole herb, and make your own cuts for modifications, whatever, that'll be the most natural way to do it. But if you do happen to find like a extract for it as well, that's also one way that you can find it. That is another way for you able to get the best benefits of without having to, grow things in your backyard or on your windowsill. So you do have to, a few variations. And then one I kind of did want to bring in as well. It's not necessarily an herb, but it's one that it's a natural plant that I particularly love, and that is my sea moss. Now, if you guys have ever heard about sea moss, basically it's like nature's multivitamin. So if you take any kind of like one-a-day pill, women's health, men's health, and especially like when it comes to the gummies, you're not getting the most bang for your buck when it comes to that. Now, on the opposite end, when it comes to your sea moss, this is a natural growing plant. It grows like, the more coastal areas, and it's very rich in numerous vitamins, your iron, your calcium, vitamins A through K, all that amazing stuff. And you can either typically get it within the gel form, and that's one that you actually can use it within multiple ways. You can cook with it, add it to your smoothies, add it to your hot drinks, add it to your yogurts, things like that. They even have the capsule versions for you guys who want to just take like the actual pill version as well. But for anybody who's looking to have an herb that kind of does a little bit of most things in one, sea moss is one that I've highly been recommending over the last year or so, but even though it's been around for centuries past that as well. So that is one that is not necessarily in your cabinet just yet, or not in your pantry just yet, but a quick little, trip to the market or to your Etsy shop local to you, but definitely have that be able to come to your house quick and easy, and incorporating that. And also, I kind of want to get into an episode later on as far as able to show you guys what foods can do what for your body. Because what we don't know as well is that how the food's appearance, the color of it, how it looks can kind of tell you what part of the body is used to work. Foods that are more red in color work with your blood and circulation, things like that. Like things that are more green help when it comes to your skin, to your water intake, your water consumption, as far as how hydrated your body is. So that's a whole other conversation to kind of get into when it comes to your own natural medicine cabinet. But for today, we're going to stick into the herbs conversations. I kind of just want to throw that one little because it is a plant. So I kind of want to throw that one little herb into the pot to kind of give you guys a little more to kind of sip on for this episode.
100%. We appreciate that. And sea moss be slept on, but I think that the reason why it's slept on is because it's not as obtainable as most people would expect it to be. You know what I mean? And I guess what I mean by that is it's literally not in your normal stores. So you really have to go out of the way and go look for it. And if you do find it, you still have to make sure it's from a trusted source.
Right.
Which I'm actually, we're going to get into in just a second. But so one thing that you had mentioned that was really important earlier on was like when you're talking about sea moss and the like gummies or capsules in general. Although capsules are on this list, that would still be probably one of the last ways I would consume it because of the bioavailability. And all that means is when you consume it, how much of it is actually being absorbed into your actual bloodstream or just your body in general. So the higher chance that you're going to have a higher chance of being of it being more bioavailable if you're able to find it in its most natural, full form, right, as opposed to broken down, genetically modified, altered, pressed, added with cellulose and this and that, and all these gelatin capsules, and then sent to you. To only say that it's 100% of the recommended daily intake. And when all reality, when you consume it, you probably get maybe 20 or 30% if you're lucky. So just be very aware of that. I just wanted to kind of touch on that. Now, real quick, before I hand it back over to you, Joy, should you use herbs? Obviously, we're going to tell you yes. Right? That's a common sense thing. Common sense isn't common practice, but it's about to be starting today. All right. Now, my thing is it should be something that's super, super easy for you to obtain because, again, you could go to a farmer's market, you could go to your regular grocery store and get a lot of these things. Anything from, again, all the things that we had mentioned, turmeric, ginger, garlic. These are things that you cook with. You just probably didn't know the main, like the reason behind, some of the benefits as opposed to it just tasting good. So think out of, the whole concept of just culinary and food and think about its, holistic benefits as well, too, and why it's so important for you. The other thing is that it does not cost as much as medication. I don't see why I would invest more money into high blood pressure medication when I can utilize garlic or something else and continue to, whether it's exercise, do a little bit more walking, pay attention to how much salt I'm taking. Yes. These are all things that you can literally prevent instead of paying for a $150 script. Doesn't make any sense to me. But again, we work in the world of convenience. I understand it, but we know what time it is, right? Another thing is less negative side effects as opposed to your prescribed medication.
Yes.
So
You have
I
never
call huh?
I'm sorry to cut you off. I was gonna say that you never seen on like any little package of parsley or turmeric this long line of side effects that come like on the ads of all these commercials that you see on TV may cause nausea, heartburn, death, cancer, liver dysfunction, all these different things that can come from you trying to just cure a headache. So instead, be able to offer like the more natural remedy. The only way that you can get to a toxicity level when it comes to that is by overconsumption of certain particular herbs. So if you're looking for a lesser risk factor, going the more holistic route can be a way for, you say, cost effective, but then also a lot less risky as far as any kind of adverse reactions as well, for sure.
And the last thing I have to add to that, I don't have much to add to that before I pass it over to you, is think about it this way. Like you put it in perfect perspective. I'm sitting here watching an ad about high blood pressure medication. Warning, side effects such as that. I'm like, damn, like what was the whole point of me taking this if I'm gonna do this and then get all this other stuff on the back end? Now you know what's crazy? You want to know how this ends up working? You go right back to the doctor and they're gonna give you something else for that additional one. 10. Now you're taking this many pills for that one original thing. But because of all the side effects that it has, it kind of cascaded you into other pills, which now you're just dishing out more money when you could have took that same money invested into your herb cabinet and you'd be good to go.
Okay.
So y'all get the point now? Y'all kind of get where we're going now? You see what I'm saying? But I have nothing else to say, Joy. I'm going to go ahead and hand it to you. It's all yours.
Yes. And I feel like we're really going to do part 2 to this conversation because there's a plethora. When I tell you guys a plethora of herbs that you guys can take, buy naturally, grow easily, even at home in your own backyard, that can help, like I said, resolve that dis-ease in your body. But let's just go ahead and do a nice little recap for today's lesson. All right. So for right now, of course, like we said, on top of everything that we're saying today, consult with your physician. If you're taking any kind of other medications, even the natural route can have an adverse reaction to things that you are already taking. So make sure that you talk with your doctor to make sure they're taking like a more, holistic remedy to, for certain things that is in your best interest. But as far as things that you can have in your cabinet right now that can kind of help, with your inflammation, things like that. You have your turmeric, antioxidants, your chamomile, help with those headaches, echinacea as well to kind of help with those flu and cold symptoms that we get each and every year, like clockwork. Parsley, a lot of, antioxidants and vitamin rich in there as well. Sprinkling it on your meat, sprinkling it on your food, your salads is beautiful, and it's also very good for your body as well. Your garlic, like I said, my household for Deion as well is never too much, but then too much, like I said, of anything can also be a bad thing. So it's like keep everything in mind and within a good portion size. Ginger is really good for that nausea. If you guys have any kind of issues when it comes to motion sickness, be able to, what's it called when you can't be around water?
Motion sickness?
That's like all the same seasickness. Thank you. All that when it comes to having a imbalance of the acidity within your stomach. Ginger can help, like I said, reduce that, but y'all don't want to experience what Deion did and have the adverse reactions. So, like I said, too much of a good thing can still be a bad thing. Keep everything within moderation. I think we didn't touch on ginseng. If you guys have seen ginseng, probably have heard of it quite a few times, especially when it comes to certain weight loss teas, whatever people like to throw ginseng in. But that is an amazing root, and it's really like the vitality root. I love ginseng within the teas, but like I said, keep everything within moderation. It's of course the best thing is it's really good for your high blood pressure and everything like that, anti-inflammatory. And it kind of is basically used for people who typically have diabetes to kind of help counteract the effects of them not able to quite balance their insulin levels, but like I said, keep everything within moderation. Golden seal, another way great to treat your eye and skin irritations as well as your diarrhea. Milk thistle, may have to take a trip down to a local market down the street to get this one plant because it's not too commonly seen. But like I said, we start to kind of expand your mind a little bit and find out different kind of plants that you may have never heard of or seen and learn the benefits of it. It will really open your minds up. And that's a really good one for anybody who's dealing with high cholesterol or any kind of liver conditions. like I said, consult with your doctors first, but then adding that in as well can be a really good benefit for you all. But with anything that we are telling you guys today, the number one thing that advice that we have for you is to do your research. Do these little Googles. Maybe even go to YouTube, university for a little bit, take a few courses, and figure out what kind of symptoms that you're trying to resolve, and then find a plant or the herb that will kind of help best balance out those, interactions. Like I said, this could be a whole other conversation. I'm really feeling like we should do a part 2 to this. If you guys are looking forward to a part 2, if there's anything in particular that you guys kind of want to cover as far as any kind of certain ailments, symptoms that you guys want to see, what's the natural remedy for this? Let us know down below in the comment section. And then this is kind of everything that we need to cover for today's episode. So, Deion, any kind of final church announcements that we should know for the people? Oh, here we go.
You all watched last week's episode, and by the time you're watching it now and that date, should basically at this point, you guys should already know. You guys see the new setup that we have. This is one of the announcements. So at this point in time, we are officially on additional platforms. So we're talking about Spotify. We're talking about Apple Podcasts. We're talking about all of it right now. I think the only one that we haven't figured out was, we got iHeart. And I'm trying to see if we could do the Google Podcast, see if that's something we can get into. But we will be on Spreaker. So there's a lot of things going on right now. We got a lot of things we've been moving out. We're making some adjustments. Joy has a amazing announcement that she will be giving later on as well too. We got to get y'all. We got to keep y'all coming back.
I'm gonna hold on smile a little bit longer. So y'all got to stay tuned in each week. That way, whenever we make these kind of announcements, you're not the last to know. And so, like I said, each and every time, go ahead and like this stream. Give it a double tap. Go right next to it and share it out with 3 people. Because, y'all, we're trying to come in hot and heavy for y'all. Got the whole new setup coming in looking real official for the new year. And we're doing this that we're able to bring you guys the best content in whatever mode, form, or fashion that you guys, receive this in. We're trying to be in your ear wherever you are. And so, of course, like I said, talk to us down below in the comment section. Let us know what your biggest takeaways from this episode are. Anything that you may have learned and not already know, things that you may actually want to try out later on as far as these nice little herbal tonics. Let us know what's going on with you guys down below when it comes to your wellness and holistic journeys. And of course, like I said, subscribe to the channel, because why would you not? Why would you not? Come on now. All this information that we're giving out each and every week for you guys as well. Definitely go ahead and follow both me and Deion over on Instagram and on the Evolve Fitness page on Instagram and Facebook. That you guys can know anytime a new episode comes out. We're always leaving out little teasers and clips for you guys to kind of get a feel for what the next conversation is going to be coming up on the podcast. And so with that, I think that's all we have for today's episode, y'all. This is really going to be an amazing time. Looking forward to sharing you guys, sharing this time with you guys to give some more information now, some more big announcements. 2022, if we're already in there by the time this video comes out, is going to be an amazing year. One to definitely stay in tune for. So, as always, we will catch you guys in the next one.